family, back at again with another video, and I'm finna bring y'all something that we haven't really done before. We finna react to the wild animal completion. You feel me? I guess this is between the most harmful to the most deadliest animal. You feel me? So watch yourself out there, because even if it's just a rat, it might get your ass flat. You never know. But we got the blunt skis. You feel me? I was finna say bong. I was finna fuck up the intro, but you gotta take a break, think before you speak type shit. Like shit, comment, and subscribe type shit. You feel me? But we got the Beezy. Make sure y'all taking it easy. Have a great day, great week, great weekend, because it is the weekend. Great month. Hopefully y'all having a great rest of the year too. But let's get into it. What the fuck?
I think a common theme on this channel is cute animals.
I forgot what the fuck that was called.
Haunting pretty privileged merchants. And that's what this video is about. And the further we
It's
go,
called like a wall base.
Before I do, I'm just say this. When I call something a homicidal menace, that's just me using hyperbole to season a sentence. I'm not actually trying to get y'all to go out and drop kick an otter or something. Ultimately, these animals are just trying to survive and are doing what comes naturally, so you can't really judge them by human moral standards, even though that's literally what I'm about to do. And starting off, this is not your average mouse. First of all, it's a straight-up carnivore. In their defense, that's not exactly crazy. Squirrels have been known to raid nests and eat the baby birds inside.
What
but
the hell?
rodent is more of a meat eater than
I didn't even know that.
And its grocery list can include anything from insects, worms, and spiders, to mantises, scorpions, and desert centipedes, aka the same cursed crawly that nearly.
Oh yeah, I know this. I know about this rat right
Grasshopper
here.
mice will even murk and eat snakes. Basically, you remember that episode where Jerry took PEDs and nearly put Tom in a tombstone? That's the grasshopper mouse times 1,000. This mighty mouse even developed a resistance to the crippling venom of hops like the Arizona bark scorpion. Not only can they tank hits that would flatline animals 100 times their size, this rogue rodent shuts down the pathways the toxin takes to cause pain. Meaning, this mouse essentially evolved to be impervious to the pain caused by venom. It can feel pain, it's just not going to come from a scorpion. That's not even the only thing.
It's not going to come from a
Stalk
scorpion.
and hunt their prey exactly like cats. This homicidal hamster will even howl.
Homicidal hamster.
Off their territory. Take a listen. Imagine being a scorpion, right? Millions of years of evolution. Your ancestors were apex predators, and you have biological warfare on your side. All that for a pint-sized weremouse to be your downfall. Not even other mice are safe. Grasshopper mice regularly eat other rodents, and cannibalism is not off the table. In fact, there was a story of a scientist keeping a grasshopper mouse and making the mistake of leaving it alone with a lab rat 5 times its size. In a few minutes, he walked away and returned. There was one less mouse and the number one suspect feeding on the carcass.
Wow.
Proof that even the most innocent-looking platter can serve death. Especially since the predator with the highest body count is not what you'd expect. No other mammal catches more body. The Etruscan shrew.
One of the Etruscan shrew.
Less than 2 Skittles. The shrew is so small that the only way they can survive is by killing more prey than any other animal. Basically, if this candy-sized carnivore doesn't eat twice its weight in food every day to fuel its metabolism, they'll essentially freeze to a flat line. So the Etruscan shrew has to end a life every 2 hours or so, and they hunt.
They also have sex to the point where they die.
Another starving shrew can get to it. Just for reference, if I had to eat twice my weight in food every day, I'd be starving about 600.
It's not even like if they. It's not like they mate one time.
At least I don't have to hunt the burger. By the time I get to the drive-thru, the job's already done.
It's they keep fucking until they heart stop, which is crazy.
Mammals on Earth to weaponize venom. According to studies, some shrews are toxic enough to delete 200 mice, and while they're too small to turn a human to a hashtag, it's still capable of causing pain and allergic reactions. Not only that, but some shrews are able to catch a calorie come up underwater, since some are able to smell out prey even while being completely submerged. Yeah, they're a whole mid-sized menace, but too small to be a legit threat to us. That's not going to be true for some of the animals coming. And up next, this bird probably looks no different from something you'd expect in a garden, except it's only found in the islands of the Galapagos, and to survive, they've come up with some nasty tricks. They've been nicknamed Darwin finches since they actually helped prove Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Long story short, different finches ate different foods and so developed different size and shaped beaks. One finch evolves to finesse an easy meal by pecking at the skin of bigger birds and drinking the blood that spills out.
What the fuck, bro?
Are birds even fucking real? And scientists believe up to 10%
what kind of shit is that? You a bird, all of a sudden you just fucking stinging me. Next thing you know, it's a goddamn bird eating you. What the fuck is going on?
Opinion says that it started with the finches picking
bird on bird
after realizing they could
violence, cannibalism.
Leak out, the vampire finches started turning to birds.
Think it's easy to be a bird if you want to.
Think
all you gotta do is worry about flying.
There's damage to do to get a ragu reward without doing too much and losing a future victim. Yeah, these birds drink nothing but blood, which they kind of have to, since freshwater in the Galapagos is in less supply than lawyers in heaven. But it also means even though they can fly, Arup would be
Come on, the lawyers in heaven.
but not to you, because Arup's flavor pods uses scent flavors to convince your brain you're drinking whatever pod you chose. Just fill up the bottle, pull the pod to activate, and drink your flavor. And that can be anything from blueberry to peach to cherry to cucumber. Or dirty pennies,
I don't know about that.
My personal favorite so far has been mango passion fruit, and you can't see it from here, but this is cherry. And remember, there's no calories, no sugar, just elite gray matter gaslight. Because fun fact, 80% of taste is actually dependent on smell. Which is great, because although I've never had a problem getting enough water, I personally have been trying to cut down on all the juices and sodas and stuff. And Arup's a great way of weaning yourself off without going
cold. Just make your own juice.
I've gotten a lot better at it now, but when I was just starting, Arup was the perfect failsafe. And if you think it would be for you, make sure you check out Arup and their assortment of flavor pods using the link in the description. Use the code CASHGO15 for 15% off. And like I always say, stay hydrated, my friends. It's just too bad finches don't drink water, otherwise Arup would save more boobies and free mammograms. Not only do they grief bosom birds, but finches will often roll eggs out of nests and crash them into rocks just for some easy protein. They're not even the only birds on that kind of timing. There's usually Kiwi will use that Swiss Army knife of a nose to cut into sheep and eat the fat right off their backs.
Fucking
Sometimes
kiwis, dangerous as hell.
Eat themselves off a cliff trying to get away. But at least the Kia and the vampire finch are only harmful to your mental. From here on out, that is the last time that statement will be true. Because this live-action plush toy is also on the
show. Live-action plush toy. He's wild.
Southeast Asian primate armed with toxins that can do very real damage to a human. They have a gland on their arm that produces a chemical that becomes highly toxic when mixed with saliva. So when this imitation lemur sees you and puts its hands up, it's not a sign of surrender. It's a promise to ascend you.
It's a promise to ascend you. He said, "Where you going? To the sky."
And this was Buddy after an hour and a half. Since the toxins contain chemicals similar to cat allergens, this venom monkey can trigger anaphylactic shock in people. They can be the first animal here that can perform landscape work on your family tree. We used to think this malicious muppet used venom against predators, but it turns out it's for friendly fire. They use
it's for friendly fire.
And the flesh-melting toxins can cause necrosis, meaning the loser lowers can lose an eye, a toe, their scalp, and their face. It's so bad that one of the most common causes of loris life retirements is getting bit by a rival. An 8-year study done on about 80 slow lorises found that over 20% of them were seriously maimed in conflicts, with some missing eyes, ears, fingers, toes, and more. It's nasty work, and it puts the slow loris on the very short list of animals that use venom against their own kind. And it's no coincidence the public should know. One is at about 6 pounds and less than 2 feet long. They're way smaller than
platypus.
Two is that they're violently venomous.
Males
have a spur that they use.
I like platypus. They're venomous, which is fucking crazy. Think about Perry the platypus stabbing Dr. Doofenshmirtz with a fucking nail. He just
was far worse than
Perry, why?
Excruciating pain didn't go away after a month, even after he was shot up with morphine. And just how much pain are we talking? Well, according to him, just the weight of a warm towel on this thing caused incapacitating agony. Even 15 years after he claimed to still
feel discomfort, you almost checked out from a platypus.
The highest honor of the British Armed Forces for his performance in the Vietnam War. Same guy apparently got folded by a beaver otter cosplaying as a duck.
You feel me?
Because platypus venom manipulates
you survived bullets just to get took out by a platypus? I would have said hell no. I would have looked at God and said, "Give me a chance."
That's why if you see two male platypi fighting, you'll often see the loser spend days rolling around and scratching. That's a platypus in crippling agony. And you can expect the same symptoms if you F around and find out with the next
man, fuck around,
even though it's barely an inch long. Most people know why playing with a Portuguese man of war is bad for your health. You heard me say most. The man of war is notorious for excruciatingly painful stings that they inflict on thousands a year. Not only can it cause nasty welts like this, in worst case scenarios, it can trigger severe allergic reactions that can block your airways and suffocate you. Most people know not to touch them, but a lot of those same people would do this. This is Globus atlanticus, and more specifically, slug nudibranch.
That will kill you.
Boneless snails do is steal poison from other animals.
That will kill you.
Them and
not
store
touch that at all.
Weird fingertips growing out of their back. It's cultural appropriation for poison, and the Glaucus does it to the man of war. This is why even though a 2-inch Glaucus is an overachiever, holding one and getting stung can lead to nausea, vomiting, allergic reactions, and you guessed it, pain. In fact, many think because the poison they steal is so concentrated, their sting is actually more powerful than the jellyfish understudy they take it from. Moral of the story, this is what it looks like to put a dent in your family's bloodline. Pro tip, if an animal's that small and goes out of its way to be seen, touching it's a great way to see your ancestors.
Exactly.
We find a case of someone being seriously hurt by this tiny assault slug, so it's another example of an animal being too small to truly punish ignorance as often as they could. Completely different from the animal up next, because real talk, if you haven't seen them in person, you would not believe how big they actually get. We all know Steve Irwin, may God rest his soul, and his son and shadow clone, Robert Irwin. Just like his father, Robert
And then you crazy enough to have me next to you, Dad.
And you probably never guess it.
What the hell?
The animal that scares him the most and has the most.
What was CPS?
It's crazy, right? That's a wombat, and yeah, they really do get that big. And in the words of the spawn of khaki
Goddamn wombat.
crocodiles are apparently easier to work with than wombats, since wombats are bloodthirsty psychopaths. And while he probably was exaggerating a little, wombats still ain't the ones to play with. At 25 miles per hour, wombats are fast enough to catch a ticket in a school zone, and more than fast enough to catch you off guard. They have a
For
tough,
real.
cartilage-reinforced butt that they use to crush the skulls of their enemies against their burrows. Yeah, getting your life subscription terminated through twerking is a possibility if you're an op to a wombat. But more
You
importantly,
telling me
jaws
a
will
nigga
be
can
able to tear some
excuse me
cats, which is what
to
this first
death?
blowing blows
Oh,
really
hell
for.
no.
Victim Carrie Evans was hospitalized.
Watch out,
with
Bucko.
bites and lacerations after she was mauled by the evil golden twin of the flock. And in 2020, a family nearly got squad wiped by a wombat after the one they were raising for a TV show turned on them, mauling his owner and handing out work to any kin that tried stepping in without prejudice. Buddy almost folded 4 generations of people, and it took a whole axe to get him to act right. And that's not even mentioning the damage an angry fur meatball can do to your car. Moral of the story, if anyone in this man's bloodline don't rock with him, neither do I. The problem is, 99% of the population rocks with pandas and forgets it's still a bear that was made after the printer ran out of color. It's still a bear, and you can have a panda bear, a Yogi bear, or a nose candy bear. If it ends in a B-E-A-R, you'll be last seen in an ER. You even get that far. So fun fact, gorillas have a stronger bite force than grizzly bears and can crack a coconut, and that's because they spend so much of their time crushing vegetation. As bamboo merchants that commit 16 hours a day to binging it, giant pandas might have the most underrated bite in the entire animal kingdom. A study was done comparing the bite force of carnivores relative to their body size using a value known as the bite force quotient. African lions were given a bite force quotient of 124. The jaguar, believed to be pound for pound the strongest cat, earned a 137. And while being smaller than both, African painted dogs flexed a bone-crushing 142. And where did giant pandas fall? With a BFQ of 151, giant pandas scored a bronze medal on the bite force scale.
Damn.
Only behind
I mean, 'cause it is
Weasel and
days-
assault and battery happy Looney Tune. That
Plant
strong enough to
and
rip
what they
flesh,
eat
tear
is
tendons, and
tougher
shatter
than
bone. The thing is, pandas have all
skin,
the tools of a
so,
predator, but with
you feel
durable
me?
software.
It's
Even
hard
though
to
this
break
giant cow
bamboo,
rabbit
it's
doesn't
easy
know
to
how to
break
kill,
bone,
they can be
so
persuaded into
you
trying,
don't
and
need
it's
that much of a
usually in
bite
zoos.
force.
In 2006, a wasted tourist had a chunk of his calf ripped off by a pissed off panda after he tried to pet it. In 2009, a tourist fell into an enclosure and also paid a calf
Oh
tax.
my
Later the
goodness.
same year, another tourist
You almost
fell into
shaked
an
out to a
enclosure and the
panda.
Barbara bear nearly turned him into a serial number on a police report, ripping off parts of his foot and elbow. And in 2015, Juan Shi sued the government and won for over $80,000. The reason was because officials had chased a giant panda onto his land, and a generationally heated bear crushed
Oh
his leg
my
like a
goodness.
celery stick. And my personal favorite story, a man tried wrestling a biracial black Air Force to impress a woman and inappropriately got partially handled. He wasn't hurt, but the bear bodied him and even shredded his pants in the process, which was the closest he'd get to foreplay that entire day. It's no secret there's no end to the copious amounts of bull effery in the ocean, but there are still some animals people let slide, especially if they've been in a movie. One of these fish can do you dirty, and this time the clown's not it. The regal blue tang is actually venomous, with caudal spines sharp enough to slice open skin and
I
look
didn't
red.
even
They'll
know.
whip their bodies from side to side. It's like a junkie waving a broken bottle.
I didn't
at you,
know
and
that.
deep
I didn't know
lacerations
they
you
was
can cause are
poisonous.
almost guaranteed to get infected. And thanks to a certain Pixar movie, there's at least one kid out there that got a bacterial infection just because Ellen DeGeneres played a fish well. Not only that, but the blue tang is toxic to humans and can cause ciguatera poisoning to the people that eat it. An even worse mistake when people try it with the next animal. Because the cute derp guppy is one of the most poisonous things alive. The tetrodotoxin in one
That
pufferfish can
motherfucker's
bury
so
30
cute
people.
though.
It's about
She's
12
so
times
cute though,
more
cause like it's
toxic than
smiling
cyanide.
at
And
you,
there's
so
no
you
actual
wanna touch
antidote.
it, and then
All
you
that in Mrs. Puff's
puff
text
up.
is
You what the
still
fuck?
considered delicacy. The
You
food
just
is
sitting there
local,
just
it's a prized dish
paralyzed.
in Japan, but it's also
fuck
Russian
going on?
roulette, because if the chef misses by even a tenth of an inch, it's the customer that gets cooked. Here's what would happen if you got poisoned. In about 10 minutes, your mouth would go numb and you would start to feel dizzy and unreasonably tired. You'd get an overwhelming headache to go with nausea, and it'd slowly get harder
Fuck
and
all
harder to
that.
breathe. Eventually, you'd get so exhausted you'd fall asleep and likely never wake up.
Oh my goodness.
And until then, you would have been conscious for everything. It's just that you'd be paralyzed and unable to talk or move. The only thing people could do to save you is pump your stomach, put you on life support, and God on speed dial. It's said that up to 100 people get flatlined by fugu a year, and most of that are people that try it at home, which means by the time they realize they messed up, they can't run, call, or even scream for help. All they can do is struggle to get air and watch everything turn black like the end of Sopranos. But not even fish fentanyl has a higher body count than the last animal. A lot of people think snails are cute, yet snails are partially responsible for crossing 200,000 names off the census a year.
What?
Schistosomiasis is a parasitic disease caused by worms.
200,000?
Those worms are released by snails. The sickness is most common in tropical third world
So if
countries.
a nigga say I'm moving like a snail,
About
he
700
catching.
million people live in at-risk areas. It's one of the most devastating parasitic diseases of all time. Only
Fuck
second
being
to
a lion,
and even
fuck
if snails
being a
aren't the
wolf,
primary
I'm a
suspect,
snail. They
vaccine
catching
bug, at the very least, they're
200,000 a
accomplices.
year.
Now you see why folks almost put Gary on a shirt. Mad snail disease wasn't a joke.
You
So
feel
that's what we'll
me?
do with this video. Be
Mad
sure to follow
snail
my TikTok
disease ain't
and
no
Instagram for more
fucking
consistent
joke.
content as you wait for the next video. Check out my book, 100 Animals That Can Effing End You. You might just see some of the guys from today on there. If you'd like to further support this channel, becoming a patron on Patreon earns you access to exclusive content, videos before I post them, and you can even help vote on what I cover in future videos. Other than that, make sure you drink water, hug your parents. Yes, parents, we're inclusive.
Hell no, Fronto family. Snails. 200,000 a year? Even in financial terms, that's you know what? Alright, Fronto family, I'm gonna come at y'all next one. Yeah.